And really I am very happy and I congratulate Sri Ramu Sharma, the Chief Editor, Hans India, for organizing such a program, particularly taking forward the message of new educational policy. The NEP 2020. Really I am very happy to know that 2 days conference, and today also morning I saw the newspaper Hans India where most of the salient points were highlighted in the morning edition. And I always appreciate Hans India. Is one of the paper which I read with much interest in the morning, because it is a paper for not only the educational people, educational institutions. It is a paper for women, it is a paper for youngsters, it's a paper for children, and it's a paper for politicians, and it is paper for critics, and it's paper for national people with national interest, it's a paper for people with regional interest, and it is a complete paper. So I always laud the paper, and today also some of the, even though I am a doctor, I always feel the nutritional tips and the health tips which are given in the Hans India. And I should say that some of the articles which the editorial page and the articles I have preserved, so it gives much of information and talking points to each and every one. So some of the articles I have preserved in my iPad. So I appreciate you not only giving a very good paper to the people of Telangana for the past 10 years, and I should congratulate you, the national interest of conducting a program like this. And I thought, because the organizers and the participants yesterday, today, I think I have no role except as a chancellor, because all the educational experts here, and it is in Tamil they used to say it is like selling a golden needle among the goldsmiths. So the people with high educational qualification and educational experience here are available to convey their message. And as it is said by Sri Ramu Sharma, it is not only the policy, in implementation of the policy is the success of the policy is in its implementation. And because I thought most of the dignitaries and most of the academicians would have talked everything about NEP. So what I am going to focus, as a chancellor already I have had a video conference with all the vice chancellors and how to implement it, and my focus is 2 or 3 times in a very brief note I want to tell. NEP 2020 aims to take this learning outside the 4 walls, you would have mentioned. A well-defined, well-planned and progressive education policy must for each and every country, because education is the cornerstone of economic and social programs. And I have focused on 2 things. One, as a social person, I was always concerned about the dropouts. Dropouts, we have to say that 62% dropouts are there, 1 in 8, 1 among the 8, whether it is school education or in higher education, or dropouts. So the new education policy prevent the dropouts. So much of reforms which are taking place in the academic activities will definitely prevent the dropouts. So I really laud this policy, because that is a very big challenge. We need that before 2030, everyone should be educated. The primary education is the basic right of each and every one. So I really very happy that it is dealing with the dropouts, and the dropouts will be actually the number will be less, or mostly it will be nil. And another thing I want to focus is the job opportunity, because the national new education policy, now the job opportunities and the joblessness is the biggest challenge. And I appreciate the central government for providing, now they have come out with good job opportunities, and particularly this has focused the unfocused areas. For example, agriculture. Agriculture, 9% of the universities have the agricultural training. compromise approximately 9% of the all universities, the agriculture universities, but less than 1% of all enrollment in the higher education on agriculture. So now the new education policy is focusing on agriculture. So according to the report by the Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, there are around 121 unemployed Indians who are presently out of work. Some of the key factors behind this number are lack of key skills plus education among the job seekers. So the new education policy is sharpening their skills. So when they are denied of their job because of want of the skill, the expert skill, so when they are trained in that, they are going to get the opportunity. And I should say, because when I, as a chancellor, when I had a meeting of the vice chancellors, the vice chancellors were very proud that more number of women enrollment is there in Telangana. Then I asked one question. The women education, the women students outnumber men, but what type of degrees they are selecting? It is very disheartening to know that the degrees they selected were not degrees for job opportunities, not for research activities. It is just for gaining a degree to encash them in the market of marriage. So she has studied this, that. But when we asked some of the girl students, when I asked them, why you are not selecting such a high-tech professional degrees, they were telling, as a woman, I have to, after marriage, I have to continue my studies. It's very difficult to continue the research activities, and even though they are very much talented, their wings are crippled because of the social activities in our country. So this new education policy fills the gap between the gender gap. It narrows the gender gap. So I appreciate the policy makers for making it possible for the women students also to take a good number of degree courses. And as it is flexible, everyone should have told. And again I laud, because I thank our Honorable Prime Minister for making the upper limit of the lower limit of the marriage as 21 years, because 19 years means that was also preventing the girl students, preventing them by selecting good degrees. It was preventing them for selecting the good degrees. And another thing which as it is mentioned by the editor, the student-teacher relationship. I always think that as a medical professional, I always think that I was also an assistant professor in a medical college, but as our Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan said, teachers should be the best minds in the country. But before and all, when we used to listen to our teachers' lectures, we won't be able to judge from which book they took this message to teach us. Like honeybees, they select so much of information from different textbooks and deliver the lecture to us, so that simple notes will help us to face the practicals, to face the viva. But now, it's very sorry to say, even in our medical profession, if a teacher is teaching, the student will be able to tell that she has taken the message from the Cunningham's such paper and she has just delivered it. So even the teachers, not only the bonding, but the responsibility, the accountability, the teacher should think that we have to mold the children. But now the psychological effects by the children, and another thing, because of the numbers. Because in 2030, 250 million students are expected to enroll in schools. With the teacher-student ratio 1:35, India needs to add at least 7. India is to add 7 million teachers more. It's a very huge population. So because of that, not only teachers training, because the new India education policy, national education policy, put forth a good training for the teachers. Teachers should be accountable. Teachers should be an expert. But now it is lacking. I'm very sorry to say, even in the state of universities, as a chancellor, I feel that the vacancies should be filled up and the contract professors and lecturers should be replaced, because new education policy take care of the teaching professional also, teaching fraternity and teachers particularly. That is the need of the hour. And apart from that, another thing I want to highlight is about the language. I am from Tamil Nadu. There is an opposition there in Tamil Nadu about the 3 language system. And we are lauding the new education policy because it encourages the education by mother tongue. And as a doctor, I know till 6 months, as gynecologists, we advise the children, the mothers, to provide only mother's milk, because it is highly digestible and it gives immunity to the child to face any pandemic or any disease. Like that, mother tongue also, it is easily imbibed by the child. And another thing, they are opposing learning another language. The brain till 8 years, it can accept as much number of alphabets, as much number of words. So why to prevent when a brain is able to accept it? The world is now, this is a challenging world. So much of opportunities are not only confined to the state. We have to face the world. There are so much of challenges the growing child should face. So knowing another language will give more opportunity for the child to face, to take some more jobs, opportunities, to take research activities. So this new education policy also encourages learning other mother tongue as well as other languages, as well as learning English also. So with all these positive points, and as everyone would have it is very flexible, and even in the higher education, children can come out in the first year, even when they come out in the first year, they have the certificate, they can have the certificates if they come out in the second year, and even you can change the speciality. And I should say, because during our days and all, if a women student means, they will select only gynecology. They will select only dermatology or something. But now, I appreciate the women students are coming out with flying colors. They are taking nephrology, cardiology, even anesthesiology, even orthopedics. So now, the interest and the option of the students are changing. But for some compulsions, they may enter into one group, and while studying, they may face some difficulties. So this is a very great opportunity for them to change the subject and to change the degrees, and so much of things there in the new education policy. And as Vivekananda said, it's a great leap, I have to say. It's a very great leap. After 3 decades, a good national new education policy have been actually organized, and Sri Kasturi Rangan has given a very good new education policy, but its success is in its implementation. The ancient mother, our honorable, our saint Vivekananda says, the ancient mother of Bharat has awakened once more, sitting on her throne, rejuvenated, more glorious than ever. Proclaim her to the entire world with a voice of peace and benediction. Why I am saying that now? She is sitting on the throne because new education policy is giving the opportunities to each and everyone. It is reaching the unreached. So I am really very happy, and our Honorable Prime Minister wants to take the message of new education policy to each and everyone. Particularly the academicians should be satisfied, and they should help in the implementation of this, and whether it is traditional to technology, whether it's gender, whether it is women or men, whether it is the children from downtrodden families or rich children, whoever may be, it gives opportunity to each and everyone. So I really very happy, and I again congratulate Hans India for organizing such a good seminar on new education policy 2020. And I really appreciate because this new education policy concentrates on tradition also. So not only the innovation, not only the recent advancement, but it concentrates on tradition. Honorable Ambedkar said, unless you read our past history, you cannot create history in your life. So past is also important, future is also important. So I really very happy, and I am on the way to Puducherry. Otherwise, I also would have sat here to hear all the lectures of all the academicians, and I am ready to break the protocol for education. Because they told, because hearing you 1 minute, it's not justified. So I can talk and go so that you can have ample time and take your, because of your high experience, rich experience, you can deliver the address very leisurely so that I can leave you. Thank you so much.